I mean, you really just gotta kind of know who you are and like know what you have to offer.
Yeah.
And you can only worry about the things that you can control. So like, I can't control, how I'm born, what's, my physical stature, anything like that. Can't control none of that. And that's not what makes a good person either. You gotta figure out, you gotta get your priorities straight too. Like, you want to look good, or like you want to like be a quality person who's actually making a difference. And so, yeah, I don't know.
There's a lot of people that look good that aren't making the quality.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like fool's gold.
Yeah,
really.
For sure. Hey, what's going on? It's another episode of the Joe Teel podcast. And like always, I have another great guest. Well, guest this time. I have two. What's going on, my boy TJ Wall?
What's up? I'm glad
and I got my boy Ayden Howard. What's going on, dude?
What's up, Mr. Joe? How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Mr. Joe. Mr. Joe, I like that. Respectful. I can work with that.
Call him Unc.
Yeah,
Joe.
big Unc. No, I don't get called Mr. very often, so I appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
How y'all doing? Everything good? Y'all ready to get into it?
Oh, heck yeah, man. Just excited to get started and get to tell everybody about what we got going on and just have a good conversation. So.
Yeah. Let's start over here.
Yes, sir.
So I know you've been involved in a whole bunch of things. We'll start with y'all's joint thing first. So the NVST TXK, right?
Mm-hmm.
How did y'all come up with that?
Okay, so I kind of came up with the idea. I reached out to Ayden because I saw that he was, involved in the community. He was, doing his own thing at a really young age. And I was really impressed by that. And I was like, well, if two young people can like get something started here in Texarkana and kind of really get the next generation going, but also kind of pull in the current generation, and, that would be something really cool to do. So I kind of came up with the idea. I reached out to Ayden, and he was all down for it. And so we kind of just started from there. And I've kind of been trying to strategize and plan and get some things done.
Can you tell me what it is?
Invest. Okay, so basically, I don't know. This, of course, this was CJ's idea. And prior to this, I had kind of like some establishment in the community when it comes to community service. I do the annual Juneteenth parade in Texarkana. So I was getting the business things and aspects and just the principles needed to be able to succeed. But I wanted to advance myself. So when TJ gave me this opportunity, it's like I've never started something from scratch with somebody before. So let's see the challenge. And so far, like we faced a couple of challenges, but so far, like we got through the adversity and just pushed through. But then also me and TJ, we've learned financial stuff, business stuff, and even just communication.
Right.
So, yeah. What's been the hardest part about a nonprofit so far?
Man, I guess I try to be balanced whenever I reach out to people. Like I want to be respectful of their time and their energy on a daily basis. I know they have other things that are more important to them than our nonprofit. But like, I guess I'm, reaching out to people and kind of getting timely communication sometimes can be a hard issue. And I don't know how to tread that line. I want to be assertive, but also kind of respectful. So.
Right. Yeah. But so give me like a nonprofit, you're basically taking in money. You take that money, you turn around and you use it to like help, right? That's a basic principle, right?
Right.
And so is it tough asking for money? Is that tough?
Yeah.
It seems like that might be hard.
Especially when we haven't done anything yet. Like we're not proven.
Okay. Yeah.
And so it's like, I want people to see our vision and kind of invest in the vision. And then of course, the reason we call it invest is because we want people to feel like they're getting a return on their investment. And so like whenever they invest with us, I want them to have different perks that we can offer them, whether it's their business, typically businesses sponsors. So just have different perks we can offer them and kind of funnel people back to those businesses that support us.
Yeah, that's interesting because like everybody has their first something. Like I had my first podcast episode. You had your first like parade deal that you threw. It's tough to get people to believe in the beginning, but like once you do it, once you do it, they're like, now they can do it. Yeah. So y'all are kind of waiting for y'all's first, like we did it moment. And it's going to come. I can feel it for both of y'all.
We're grinding to get there.
Yeah.
Working hard.
What was it like the first time you threw a parade? What was the feeling like?
It was crazy. So at first I didn't even want it to be the Juneteenth parade. It was supposed to be like the Black Business Parade I was going to have it in February. But of course, that's kind of contradicts with Black History Month, which is also in February. So the origin behind it was that my mom, she had just launched her gym. She owns a building downtown, which is Resilient Studios. And with that, like I just saw how hard it was for her to network and contact other businesses. So, I mean, that's my mom. So I wanted to help her in any way possible.
Yeah.
So I wanted to like to build a business directory. But then when I saw that like the Black History Parade, I didn't want to take away from anything or try to like almost cut a piece of their pie that they already had baked. So I wanted to like say, what can I do that one is it's helping advance the Black community in Texarkana, but then also like I'm establishing my own thing. And then Juneteenth, I mean, it wasn't really celebrated at that time because the first year that I started it, that was the first year it became a federal holiday.
Okay.
So that was kind of like the origin of it. And it was hard because I was only like 11 or 12. I was very young when I did this.
Crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And it's like people, they just see me and it's kind of like, why would we give this 11-year-old money to interest that he's going to like use it to execute his vision correctly?
Right.
Was that a lot of pressure?
Yes. Well, no. Okay. It's kind of like, I don't know. I'm neutral with that because it was pressure on me because it's like, I've had this dream and I'm not a perfectionist, but when I set a goal, like I wanted to surpass that goal. So it's like, I believe it got down to 2 weeks before the event and I only had like 28 floats. And I was just kind of like, oh my goodness, what am I going to do? Because you see the Christmas parade and the other parades down here and there's hundreds of entries in the parade. So the first year, my stress and anxiety probably was at an all-time high. But then after that, once I saw that exponential growth in entries, I calmed down.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So like what you saw the proof.
Yeah.
Yeah, the proof was like, oh, okay, yeah, we can do this.
And it's kind of, kind of sad that you have to prove yourself to people because I mean, your first time with like, what are you proving or how can you prove it is the better question.
Mm.
Yeah.
But it's like, once you kind of get your formula on how you're going to get that trust from people, do it.
Which is, it's interesting, like, because I just think about me at 11. Me 11 and 12, dude, these type of things weren't in my mind at all. Like, this is not, those aren't things I was thinking about. Like, I was playing on the playground, we was all meeting up in the neighborhood, beating each other up and stuff. Like, I wasn't thinking about throwing parades or things of that nature. So I think, like, I want to give props to you for sure. And it seems like you are a unique individual to even start thinking like that early, you know, that age. And, you know, I don't think I ever did anything really consequential like until I was like 25.
Thank you. And it's kind of like just like these days, you see people, they could get famous or like get popularity or attention for the wrong reason. So in my mind, it's like, what can I do that's going to be right for me, but also help others? That's kind of like what started this whole community service thing, wanting the need and the desire within myself to help others, but like for it to also teach me things like how to do community service, how to help people.
Right.
So
was there like a church aspect to it? Or have you grown up in church, or was that like the? Because I know a lot of community stuff kind of can spring from that, or was it just how your parents raised you, or was it just natural?
Okay, you basically said all the reasons. So I grew up in the church, but like community service wasn't really pushed in my church because in my church, my brother is 4 years older than me, but like we're the youngest. No, it's us and like a couple of other kids, but the church, it's way more elders than it is youth.
Right.
So like community service, it's not like too much of a push or a motivation in the church. But I know in my household, it was just, I was always taught like, if you could help somebody do it, or if there's something that you know that your friend or your family member needs and you have it and you have it to give and not suffer from it, do it. That my mom taught me that definitely. And just seeing her with her business and her like donate to charities or help people, it's like, I want to be like you when I grow up.
I like that. Yeah. Sounds like you're a good parent.
Thank you.
So moving forward, what do y'all have a first event plan, right?
Okay. Yeah. So that's kind of part of the challenges. We did. We had a Mardi Gras night planned for March 21st. That was going to be at the Hideout, and we're going to have DJ Hollygrove come and do it.
Yeah, shout out DJ Hollygrove.
Yeah. Shout out DJ. Shout out
for a long time. Yeah.
Yeah. Dude's real cool. Yeah, we're gonna have it packed out, but for some reason, Hideout kind of just backed out. I don't really know why. They kind of gave a reason, but it didn't really quite make sense to me. But it's all right. We couldn't do it there, and so it kind of messed up the plans with the other people we had organized too. So,
right. Yeah.
And so we were like, man, if we want to do it, we want to do it right. So
yeah.
And same kind of principle for the launch event. We had initially talked about it like right before New Year, and they were like all down for it, and they still are, and we could still do a little something. But like whenever they were talking to us at the time, they weren't aware of all the stuff that was going to be happening right at this time, you know, because that's 6-7 months in advance. So we got to talking to them and then kind of found out that it might be more, efficient for our money's sake and for just the whole event security in general. If we kind of postpone to a time when they're not in session or like transition sessions,
Yeah.
That way we can kind of have more security, more kind of funneling people where we need them to go rather than kind of having just people scattered all around, So,
Yeah.
So like I said, just the whole premise of like wanting to do it right.
Mm-hmm.
That's the big thing.
Event planning seems, because I've had several event planners on here. Jason Butler is a guy that's done a lot of events. There's more than that. Darby, like Jesse Darby.
Yeah.
But just people like that, and they've always expressed their struggles to me of events are just like, it just seems like there's so many moving pieces.
There is. Yeah.
I've thought about doing events, and then I'd just be like, how about people just come talk on microphones with me, because that's a little bit easier.
Right.
How do y'all juggle that? Like just so many different pieces.
Well, with the nonprofit and wanting to do something that's gonna be as inclusive to all parties that it can be involved, it's hard for us to try to think, what can we do to help this group, help this group, help this group. But with TJ and I, I've said this before, only one time before TJ, but it's kind of like me and him are minorities in two different ways. So I feel like it kind of gives us that eye-opener to know how to help people or fit people in.
Right.
So number one, with an event, me and TJ will always talk about our goal and what does success look like for the event, or what do we need? Like what amount of tickets need to be sold or attendance, or how popular does it need to be for us to feel like we succeeded? And we kind of just set our goal and plan from there, preparation, event, venue, whatever. And then we just go on from there.
I like that. It seems like you have a lot of, obstacles you have to jump just from the jump. But I love that you're doing things, you know what I'm saying? And you're attacking things. I think that's the best way. I think there could be, and obviously I don't understand, but I think there obviously could be some struggles as far as why and or it could turn into a pity party, or you could turn around and do something.
Right, exactly.
So I love that you're attacking life, regardless of what's going on. I love that.
Right.
Where do you think that came from? How did you get to that point where it's what, it doesn't matter what's going on or what the circumstance is, we're gonna do it.
Well, I would say that's definitely instilled in me by my parents and my family.
Good.
Of course, growing up with a disability, you have different obstacles that you have to face and things that other people won't really understand. But they kind of always told me to, not let that hinder me and use what I have to the best of my ability. And so kind of what I always had was my mind, and I was good at academics. And so I got a scholarship and got to, do college. I went to A&M here in town.
Yeah.
And anyways, I was really good in that area. And I don't know, just kind of having to push through different things that sometimes it can feel lonely because not as many people understand,
Yeah. I wanted to make sure I said that because I can't imagine.
Yeah.
But I love that you're,
attacking it.
You're attacking it. I feel like that is the absolute best way to go about it.
I think it's the only way too, because I've had my times of, everybody has, but I've had my times of pity parties, of course, and just kind of sitting there sulking, well, why do we have to go through all this? Why does it have to be so difficult, But at the end of the day, that's not going to solve anything. And if I sit there and be miserable, it's just going to bring more being miserable.
Paying for yourself.
And,
I love it.
And all you can really do is work towards getting yourself out of that. If you're stuck in a spot that, you don't want to be in, why would you stay there? You gotta work your way out, and you gotta figure out a way to make it work.
Yeah. I love that.
Heavy on not just sit in the pain, because that doesn't bring you anything. For me, mine was just kind of growing up, I was also an academic and I was in athletics as well. And it's even though I was in athletics, I don't know if the camera could tell, but I'm a small person. So I never was the strongest. I never was the fastest. And I was very smart, but I may not have been the smartest. So for me, it was just kind of if I'm not going to be at the top of anything, I'm going to push my hardest to get there.
Yeah.
And being like that in school kind of led me to be like that in all aspects of life, and kind of just develop that. I got to motivate myself because nobody else has to.
Yeah, that is true. No, but at the end of the day, and as you get older, it's going to get worse. That's going to get worse because less people are going to be like, hey, as you're younger, they'll be like, oh, that's cool. And that may be something that you run into later because people will be like, oh, you did this when you were so young, but like you'll be my age one day and everybody will just be like, oh, he's normal.
Right,
Not normal because I expect extraordinary things out of you still.
Yeah.
But it gets like the cheering gets less. People stop cheering for you. They really do because then you're just like everybody else at this point. And so like finding that motivation. Do y'all talk to yourself? I talk to myself.
Oh yeah.
I get in the mirror and I'm like, hey, get it together. we got stuff to do.
Lock in.
Yeah, lock in.
I don't like verbally talk to myself, but like I definitely have thoughts like you got to pull through for yourself on this one.
Yeah.
Like I'm reading a book called Atomic Habits. I don't know if you've ever read it before.
Atomic Habits. I've heard of it before.
I've talked to CJ about it before. And like if you want to change yourself, it has to start within your thoughts because like if you don't believe in yourself, I mean, even if you expect your outcomes or your results like to show your progress, if you don't mentally make that switch in identity, nothing's gonna change.
I like that.
Yeah.
Y'all ever have like how do I word this? Like self-love. Has that ever been an issue for any of y'all? I have problems with that for sure.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. How do y'all work through that?
With me, what I try my best to do is kind of like when I don't feel like myself, if I don't have a haircut, if I don't have a nice outfit on, it's kind of like I let like the physical things kind of value to my worth, but I just have to realize that the person who I am is who I am. That's what my worth evaluates to, not the physical things. But don't get me wrong, like looking nice and presentable, that's kind of like my main thing. Like where I know, Cameron, you may not be able to tell now, but like if you've ever seen me like at an event or go anywhere, like I'm going to step out for real. So number one, just like setting an identity for yourself to be able to not feel down on your self-worth. And then also like just analyzing whatever is making you feel down and be able to like to say, so, hey, what's the solution to this? Yeah. Because for me, like I used to get a haircut every week and I used to shop a lot to try like to keep up this facade of, I don't even know who I was trying to be, but like to keep up that facade, I just had to tell myself like, hey, I mean, you're him.
Keep up with the image,
Yeah, you're him. It doesn't matter what clothes you have or anything.
Right, exactly. So how do you deal with it?
Man, I mean, you really just gotta kind of know who you are and like know what you have to offer.
Yeah.
And you can only worry about the things that you can control. So like I can't control, how I'm born, what's, my physical stature, anything like that. You can't control none of that. And that's not what makes a good person either. You gotta figure out, you gotta get your priorities straight too. Like you want to look good or like you want to like be a quality person who's actually making a difference. And so, yeah, I don't know.
There's a lot of people that look good that aren't making the quality.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like fool's gold. It's really,
for sure.
And so, anyways, just kind of knowing what I have to offer and knowing what I've been through and what I've already done and kind of being confident in that. And then just trying to use that momentum to build more confidence and keep on moving forward.
Yeah. Man, I have a lot of imposter syndrome sometimes, like especially with the show. It's like, who wants to hear? Like, I'll get in my head and I'll be like, who wants to hear? Who even cares? I'm sitting down talking to people like, who cares? And I just like snap back, like, no, like I'm going to make them care.
Right.
Like I'm going to make the conversation good. I'm going to get the right guest. I'm going to make them like this. You know, like I'm
trying to force it on.
Man,
yeah.
Dude, when I was telling my brother today, I was talking to him during my break. And I was telling him, I was like, if you think about anxiety, like you can think about all the different things that might happen or that might go wrong. And before it even happens, it hadn't happened yet, but you're thinking about all of it and it hadn't happened. And it's just fake imaginary scenarios you're making up.
Yeah.
And so in the same way, like if you can have that same energy, like oftentimes it's self-fulfilling. Like if you feel like you're going to do bad, if you go to the plate, you're going to strike out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But like if those are fake and those are all made up imaginary, in the same way, you got to have the same energy about yourself and be like, no, I know I can do it. And that will be self-fulfilling. You got to make it happen. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Y'all have people doubt y'all?
Yes.
I feel like it. I mean, whether they explicitly say it or not, I don't know.
A lot of people aren't tough enough to actually tell you that too.
Yeah.
And for me, it's like I have people who doubt me or people who just get like my message misconstrued or like people at school think that I'm better than them. And it's not that necessarily. It's just like we're going on two different paths in life. And it's like I'm trying to stay on mine to get where I want to go.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see kids at school being like, not that you're not normal, but like being like just, going to recess with doing, doing all that, and then for you to be so driven and stuff, I could see how they could be like,
And y'all might be able like to just attest to this, but it's just kind of like as you get older, you care less about what people think about you. I don't know, as long as we talked about earlier, as long as you motivate yourself and you have like a couple of people like that, even when you can't motivate yourself, they're like, get it together. You don't need anybody else or the comments or opinions of anyone else.
Right.
That's the thing. It's like, Joe Rogan says all the time, like, don't read the comments. Don't read the comments, especially on the internet. And so like, as you start to put yourself out, you'll run into that more. Like as I've posted, like the social media side's real ugly. Mm-hmm. And as like things, like every once in a while something does blow up and it's like, oh, like I thought when I got 1 million views, everybody would be like, this is so cool. That's not how it is. You know, they'll be like, no, look at these idiots or something. And you're like, I thought it would be more positive.
Positive engagement.
People just hate on you because of success.
Right. So yeah, you have to know what you're doing. You have to know who you are. It doesn't matter what people, and it's also good. I think it's also a superpower to be underestimated.
Yeah.
Right. Because, it's better than being overestimated.
Right. That's true. Yeah.
So if somebody thinks, it's almost like having the ball in your court because you're like, no, I can show you. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to get my thought out, but you know what I'm saying? You can use that to your advantage where it's like, there's been many wars and many battles where being underestimated is why somebody lost.
Right.
I mean, even like on the court, like let's say I was at the park. This has happened 1 million times, right? And we'll get a good team together and then lose.
Yeah.
And like, what happened? It's like, oh, well, you thought everything was supposed to go right. You didn't go execute.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what happens. So as long as you execute, you can overcome so many different things, dude.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
As a nonprofit, right? Mm-hmm. Do y'all have specific places that y'all are going to be donating to? Or have y'all chose those yet? Or is that potential stuff still?
So part of the structure of the nonprofit is we don't want to be reliant on we don't call them donations. We'll get to that later. But we don't want to be reliant on investments every year. We want to be self-sustaining. So initially, the funds would kind of go towards building up that self-sustainability. So whether that be our merch that we start producing, whether that be the events that we start doing, the things that bring us more money, we're going to kind of invest in first so that we can then use that money to put into our programs that we want to do. So we'll have different projects. Work with different organizations around town, maybe offer like a grant for like let's say this organization says, hey, there's a really big need here. And the city's like, hey, yeah, we agree with that. And then we're like, all right, well, if this is a big need, we'll put it on our website. And if anybody has an idea on how they want to, they want to propose like how they can maybe make it happen, we'll provide a grant to them to, kind of work with them and make it happen.
Yeah.
And just kind of get more people invested in the community, because the more that you invest yourself in the community, the more bought in you are, and the more you reap the benefits, and the more just kind of connected you feel. I feel like so. That's just kind of the goal. But yeah,
I think there's this. It feels like, and maybe it's just because I've just now paying attention to it. It feels like there's like more community happening here in town than ever, right?
Yeah.
And I don't ever go nowhere hardly.
Yeah.
I can be like in a cave a lot of times, and then I have a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old. So it's like,
where's
do we really want to take them out? So sometimes I miss, but it feels like do y'all feel that? Like there's like a kind of a momentum of like more community happening than normal?
I personally do feel like that, but I just feel like that all the different community things that are going on, like they're kind of separated, or they're like they're oriented towards like a certain group or demographics. I feel like it's kind of, the community is advancing, but I feel like that the people who are doing the advancement are divided. So I feel like that we can work on that.
What do you think are the divides, or is that too ugly of a question?
I mean, just oh no, go ahead.
Oh, just like the different needs that, like, for example, me and TJ, we may be able to, let's think about like a mutual thing that we have in common. Like, let's say a minority or a disabled person who's in school. Education is something that NVST values like a lot. So we can look at somebody like that and be like, hey, they may not be societal standards of like what a great student could be, but I mean, him could see that. And then like somebody else, they can look at another type of disadvantage, and that caters to them, or like that calls them. So I think just like the different calling, or what each different organization or nonprofit values.
Yeah. So y'all are, you're saying that y'all will be able to see a different area of people because of where you come from. You'll be able to, you feel like you'll be able to help people that aren't getting helped at the moment.
Yeah. And also I think part of the issue is like he was saying, it does feel like community is being more engaged, whether that be because we have social media and we see it more, I don't know, but I do think there is more events. It feels like there is. And there's more people getting out there, but I think whenever like you're planning events, you have to have networks, right? You have to have networks of connections. And that's going to make things go a lot smoother. If you don't have those, it's going to be a hassle trying to get those. And so whenever you have networks, typically you have networks of people you've worked with before, things like that. Well, if people have never worked before, they're kind of cliquish in their networks, you know?
Okay. Yeah.
And I'm not saying they intend to be. It's not like it's an
just
intentional.
like a natural thing.
Right. Exactly. It's more convenient. It's like, oh, I know this person has this, you know, and then it kind of, even though we are getting the community out, it's not getting everyone kind of at the same event. You know what I mean?
Mm.
And that's the goal of NVST, like to just be the directory or the network. Like we don't even want to be the head network or the head nonprofit in Texarkana. We just want to connect everybody so it's not as divided as it is now.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, you're kind of like bridging the gaps.
Yeah.
I like that. So let's say in 5 years, let's go 5 years forward. Where do y'all hope to be at?
Man, I hope in 5 years we got our merch fully running. You know, brick and mortar store, that's a possible goal, but like we might not even need it, you know. Could just sell it at our events. But merch is kind of one of our first things.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to start on
too,
Yeah, online, you don't really have to have brick and mortar.
Yeah, that's a new thing that's like, you know,
booming.
a store,
Right. So hopefully, you know, that's the plan. We'll have that up and running. And that's going to be bringing us income that we can then use on our other projects.
Yeah.
Hopefully, once we have enough income to sustain our project and then also have extra, we're going to, you know, start giving out grants as soon as possible or scholarships to seniors that are like heavily invested in the community and things like that. So that's kind of where we want to be in 5 years. For sure have that. We want to have definitely a few events going on.
How many events would you like to be doing?
Man, I would like to try, like we can have smaller events throughout the year, like things that don't take much, you know, organization. Like bigger events, like kind of like the Mardi Gras night or the launch event that we were going to do. Probably, you know, I would say average 4 a year, every 3 months, you know?
Yeah, like kind of quarterly.
Yeah. I feel like that's a good balance and it kind of gives us time to recoup after every event, you know? So that's kind of where I want to be. Also, probably have a little bit more volunteers on staff.
Yeah.
You know, like I said, we can't pay right now, but of course, with some of our projects.
Yeah, if y'all need me, just hit me up.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm down to do it.
We definitely need that for like audio and videography and anything like that. So.
I've been saying I need to do so. I'm telling you, I'm a recluse, y'all. People are like, oh, we know Joe. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
It's like you saw me on the internet.
Right.
Or you came to the studio.
And I want to talk about that too, because it's like people could see you. Like, for example, people can see me in the community and I'm a social person. Like I could hold a conversation and I could be able to go back and forth and converse about something. But it's like when you do that for so long, sometimes you just want to go home, kind of like just turn on a TV show, get in bed.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like with me, I have a part-time job. I'm a college student. It's just kind of like a lot of different things. So where it kind of like, I don't want to say that I have like social anxiety because I don't, but it's like my social time I have is kind of like, it's more sacred to me now.
Yeah. Well, you could be an introvert and extrovert at the same time.
Ambivert.
That's something is that what's it called?
Ambivert.
Yeah. I'm 100% that.
Yeah.
Because like I can go. You know what I'm saying? But then sometimes I'm like, I don't want to go.
Exactly.
So I can talk to anybody for as long as I want. I can't go to the store without seeing somebody I know. I'm social when I'm social, but when I'm not social, I'm like, I'm in a cave.
It's like I don't want people to feel like that I'm being rude or nothing, but it's just like I don't even feel like I don't feel like talking.
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing. If you put yourself out, right? You put yourself out there, people tend to feel like they can just approach you.
Yeah.
You know, it's like my DMs are scary sometimes. Dude, like, I don't know, just I guess because I'm posting a lot and I'm just doing a lot. And then like people then just, it's like, especially stuff like Messenger or something like that. It's like random people feel like they can kind of approach you at a personal level. And if you get too much of that, we're not really, like as humans, like we're not supposed to have that much.
Right,
and I can only imagine like being famous or something. That's why they're all so sad.
Right.
They don't like it because not that many people are supposed to have access to you.
Right. Without those boundaries, like that's one thing about technology. There's a lot less boundaries.
Yeah, dude. Random people could just hit me right now.
Yeah. And it's very draining of your energy too.
That's why I don't answer Facebook calls. Like that's one of my main things. Like if you call me on Facebook, I know you don't have my number. And that means, you know what I'm saying? You can message me on Facebook and then I'll decide if I have the, like you said, like the social battery to respond to you.
Right.
But now I leave tons of people on red and I apologize all the time, but I'm like, I don't know how else to explain it. But like sometimes I can't, like if somebody send me a paragraph sometimes, And it's like,
I don't want to read that.
yeah, no. And even if it's nice, I'm like, oh God, what do I say to that?
Right,
How do I respond to this? Like, it'll freak me out so bad, I just won't respond. And I look like you know what I look like. So I was like,
Dude, that's one thing I had to teach myself when I reach out to people. I want to be very thorough in what I'm saying and like give them all the details. People don't have the attention span for that.
Yeah,
so like I have to find a way to condense it. And that's one thing that's, I've had to develop over time.
Is it scary hitting people up? Because I'll tell you my experience. Because I ask people to come on the show. It's for me, I don't know why. It's scary. Like I send that message and it's like, you don't want to get ignored, but at the same time, I know I ignore people. So it's kind of hypocritical at the same time. So, but do y'all get... Is it kind of, you're asking somebody to do something for you.
Right.
Like, it's almost like you throw the fishing pole out there and then you're like, maybe someone will bite.
For me, of course, it's kind of like, so with Juneteenth, every year in Texarkana, like it attracts a crowd of over 1,000 people annually. So it's just like, I could get up on the stage and say, hello, welcome to the annual Juneteenth parade and talk about it. And I don't have any anxiety. But it's like, if I have to approach somebody one-on-one, it's just kind of like, it's different for me because now it has to be like a different level of transparency because I'm talking to you one-on-one. It's not a big crowd. I'm great with talking to large masses of people at once, but when it just comes like to a one-on-one conversation, I get shy away.
Yeah, I'll just add on to that. We were at the Mardi Gras parade. We were just handing out flyers, kind of trying to tell people about a nonprofit. And that's one thing that me and I feel like I definitely struggle with is just cold approaching people just to tell them about something. It's like, this feels very transactional and it's like, it doesn't feel authentic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then
that's really all.
And then on top of that, like when me and TJ were giving out flyers, like some people, they just seemed like they didn't want to like take it for real. So like that just kind of adds on to it. Like,
yeah.
They're like, it's a piece of paper. They're about to throw it away. You know?
Yeah. I think that the like cold calling or cold anything is about the toughest thing ever because I think that people don't actually want it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so like you're trying to give them something that they don't want.
It's
kind of really tough. Yeah. It's like you almost feel car salesman-y.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, you do. And that's why like whenever we call people to tell them about the event, that's why we've tried to structure our events and our financing plans in a way that everybody has something to benefit. Like we try to have to get creative a little bit, but like I want everybody to be benefiting so it doesn't feel like we're just asking you for something and you're not getting anything in return.
When I look at the screens, don't worry. I'm just
make sure.
Yeah, because I need a producer and I am the producer and the talker and the editor and the everything.
All of the above.
I'm sure it's hard to like be able to do all of that and you not get tired.
I'm tired. I'm so worn out. It's like right now, because I work outside. I have a business that where I need the weather to be right to work. And so as I go through winter, like I'll go crazy in the summer and I'll be like, but I've learned like I know better. So it's like, don't go ball out, even though I feel like I could go ball out. I'm like, chill. You're going to starve this winter.
Right.
So this year I did good. I had a great summer, had a great fall, and then winter came and I was like, ooh, and it all just kind of slows down. So, instead of paying somebody to do some of this stuff that I kind of need done, I've just kind of locked in this year. And I'm hoping by next year, I'll have somebody that's doing a lot of the stuff I do. Because they say there's like, you have the 80-20 rule where you want to do like 20% of the work does 80% of the deal.
Yes.
And right now, I'm doing 100% of it. And it's really all up to Joe. And it's like, but now that I've kind of got used to this, like the quality that I bring and the quantity that I bring, I don't want to go backwards. Once you go small, like once you start going smaller, that's never good for business. Like if you ever start scaling down, that's normally the sign that it's dying. So, so I know that like if I want to keep pushing how I'm pushing, like this season that I'm in right now is like I just got to, I got to keep recording them, I got to keep editing them. And I just got to keep going. Like, I know I'm doing like 6 people's jobs. Like, if you see these on like YouTube or whatever, wherever you watch podcasts and stuff, there's a producer. There's multiple people doing a lot of this stuff. And I'm just like, it's just me at the moment. And I have a guy that's my co-host on another type of show, and he helps with some stuff. Shout to him. These are his mics.
Oh.
Yeah. So
shout out to him.
Because I have some other mics, but these are better.
Yeah.
And so like he just let me use them. Shout out to Brendan Seifert. That's my boy. But you know, there'll be, I trust in myself. I trust in the process, and I'm sure y'all understand that.
Mhm.
And I know that one day, like, I'll have the third camera and I'll have the screens and the things, you know what I mean? And so, I don't know, you just kind of got to be, and I think this is some good advice I could give y'all, is you've almost just got to be kind of ignorant. Like, you got to kind of be a little reckless. You got to kind of be a little ignorant, because if you really analyze things, like, I don't think that's how people like actually like really blow up. You can't, you'll talk yourself out of it. You know what I'm saying? So you got to kind of get to that, like, you got to have just a little pinch of unrealistic in you. And that's how you get to a place that most people don't reach.
Right. That's what I was telling my brother when we were talking. I was like, kind of going back to the anxiety thing and being fake things. And you got to have that positive mindset. Just going back to that, it was like, you got to know what you got to make happen, and you got to go for it and like visualize it and know that it's going to happen. And you know, so
there's times where I have felt like I have a cousin, and he always wants to tell me his opinion about what I'm doing. And it's like, I've learned a long time ago, like, does he have a podcast?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Does he have a successful social media?
Right.
No. Okay, what am I listening to him for? He has Zaz. He doesn't bring anything to the table except we have his uncle. His dad is my uncle.
Right.
Like, you know, so like, you've got to weed out those people, because here's something that will happen. And I don't like this type of encouragement. I try to stay away from this, but other people will, like, they'll stop you from dreaming because they quit dreaming already.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And so, like, I'm always preaching about, you need to fix yourself, start worrying about other people. But you do need to worry about people a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Like, because they'll kill your dream because their dream's already dead. And you can't let that happen.
Right.
Especially, sorry.
No, you got it.
Especially like negative people. That's one thing I've kind of had to trick myself on this year. I had a lot of like negative influences and friends. People like who they didn't have dreams, they didn't have ambition, they never, they spoke negativity over themselves. And it's just kind of like, not to say that I can't help you anymore, but it's just like, that's not what I want for myself. Like, I want to have positivity or be optimistic about my life.
Right. And I don't think there's anything wrong with like growing out. Like, sometimes it feels like people can be like, kind of like the small fish in a big pond or type analogy. Like, I feel like people can get to the point where their environment limits them from growing anymore. And so they kind of got, you know, complacent in that. And so sometimes you just gotta move up to another level, and it's okay. You know, it's not anything negative about the other person. It's just like,
it's scary though.
Yeah.
And I have mixed emotions about it. Like, so like, I have this friend group, right? This is something I'm dealing with directly, because this, like, chasing this dream right here has like, it's like changed my, like, the dynamics of things, like, even with my friends and stuff, like my original friends. And, you know, we just roast each other. We've always kind of talked bad to each other. And that's just kind of how we talk, like, just the boys, you know, just talking trash. And that's what we always have done.
Right.
And then it's like, I get to this point where it's like, no, I've got to kind of start taking myself serious. And then like, that's like, that gives them the green light. Oh, look at him. He got, And so it's like, so now we have this new dynamic where it's like, you know, and as we're older too, right? So like, my friend group, they've kind of like, they're all solidified in like their regular jobs. And that's fine. You know what I mean? But like, I have like this kind of crazy goal to go chase. And so like, we kind of lose some of the in common that we used to have.
Right.
And it's, I don't know, I'm struggling with this bad. I'm struggling with this so hard. Like, cause I'm trying to find some new friends that are more like motivated to like, I don't know. I'm going through it. I don't understand it.
I'm going exactly through that too. Like, my friends, like from middle school, I mean, we're just on two completely different paths in life. And it's just kind of like, when you've been friends with somebody for 4 or 5 years, it's hard. And you're 30.
15.
Yeah. So like, that's
so
you're an old head, dude.
15,
over a decade.
30 is not old.
I know.
I hope not.
So I'm sure it's just kind of like hard to be able to separate yourself. But if you're hanging around somebody and y'all's behaviors on the line, or like y'all's goals on the line, and y'all can't progress with each other or build on top of each other, why are y'all friends?
Yeah. And I was just say, like, from doing nonprofit stuff and trying to make those connections in the community and plan events and stuff, you do build a different network of friends and connections that you wouldn't have normally attracted, because that's not what you're doing. And so
it's been tough for me because, like, I don't know. One thing is like, sometimes I work in the daytime. Sometimes I'm like doing things where I'm like off by myself. And it's like all my friends are just at their regular job.
Right.
They work 9 to 5. And then in the evenings, like I'll have all this stuff going on. And then all my friends are like, that's their chill time.
Right,
so
right.
like then I start missing the hangouts.
Right.
Because like I'm hanging out in the daytime because a lot of times stuff doesn't happen for me in the daytime. Yeah. It's all in the evening.
Right. There's a poem that, and I don't remember exactly how it goes, but it's talking about the road less traveled. I don't know if you've heard that.
Yeah, I've heard that before.
And it's a very good poem. But basically, essentially, it's talking about, there's one path that, it's well paved and, you can see where you're going, but there's another one that keeps on kind of attracting him, but he doesn't know why, but it's less traveled and it's less worn.
Yeah.
But then afterwards, he traveled that path and went through all of that. And he said at the end, it made all the difference. And so I kind of think that's kind of relates to the situation in that way because it can feel lonely. Like we're not on the same path as everyone else. You're kind of moving upstream, but I feel like it's going to be worth it in the end. And that's just really what you got to do,
Yeah.
But I think like deviating from like the person who you once were, like the people you once hung around, that kind of builds onto you. I think everybody needs like an isolation era or period in their life because it like gives you time to, it gives you something like to just figure out like, hey, who am I? Like, what do I need to work on? What are my goals in life?
I think a lot of people get kind of in a routine or whatever, and they don't ever figure out who they are.
Yeah, exactly.
They let like who they were 10, 15 years ago, or like who people tell them they are, like to amount to who they are.
Yeah. I feel like people, like life will cook you. And, like you just got to be ready for what's coming. But I ain't gonna lie, I forgot what we were talking about. What were we just talking about?
I don't know. I like what you said, though. Life will cook you.
People, that's what I was talking about.
Yeah.
People are like, okay, so we're all humans in development, right?
Yeah.
And like some people are still cooking, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's what I was saying. Life will cook you. That's where I was going with that. It's just like, but some people, I feel like they are a little bit underdeveloped and like they're cool with it though. Like they're like, all right.
Because I'm not entirely sure that there's anything like, obviously there's nothing wrong with it, but like, because I think about that too. It's like, dude, if I would just focus on the business that I've already got, and like just leave all this other stuff alone, it's costing me so much time, money, effort, and keeping me away from my family at times.
Right.
I'd be like, I would probably be all right. You know what I mean?
Right.
But it just doesn't seem like the journey I'm supposed to be on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I feel like there's this other journey. Like, because this is like the second creative thing that I really chased. Because like I had this was a recording studio, and then I really had it running like really well. I had everything was panning out how it was supposed to be, and I was like, I made this creative business, and it felt right.
Yeah.
And then I don't know, like I just got tired of it, and then I went back to like a more normal type work,
Yeah.
And then I just getting that itch.
Yeah.
Like I was supposed to go do this other thing.
Yeah.
So then I go do this other thing and like, oh, this is like super uncomfortable.
Right.
But it's like, it's fun though. Like this is so much fun.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's the thing. I'm 30. I'm older than y'all, but I ain't gonna tell. I don't know, man. Right. I'm just like trying stuff.
Yeah. If it's a calling, it's a calling. Gotta go for it.
Exactly. I think life is a big experiment.
Yeah, it is.
I think you just gotta trust.
Yeah, it's everybody's first time too.
Yeah.
I mean.
And then it'll be our last.
Oh, that's part of living. Like if you live forever, I think that would take like the fun away from it.
That's an interesting thought. Do y'all have I don't know, let's get weird. Let's get esoteric. What do y'all think? Y'all think that this life is all there is? Or what do y'all think? What's y'all's feelings?
Man, deep conversations we can have about this.
Yeah, I love talking about this.
I mean, so I grew up in a really Christian household.
Yeah.
A heavy Christian influence. So I don't know. I mean, sometimes I wonder. Sometimes I feel like we're all so spiritually connected and so connected in different ways that I feel like there's got to be something afterwards,
Yeah.
And you never really know. But at the end of the day, I kind of feel like there is. I'll lean more that way. And I feel like that kind of gives more purpose to this life and kind of making the most of it,
Yeah.
So
what do you think?
I'm a spiritual person as well. I believe in God. I don't believe that we reincarnate or anything, but I do believe like our spirits like can leave a lasting impact.
Yeah.
And I believe like some people's spirits, like everybody has different spirits. Some could be evil, some could be nice, some could be, I don't know, like our spirits is kind of like, innerly who we are, but just kind of like the more, what's the word?
See, I feel like our spirit is separate from our body.
I do.
Yeah.
Completely.
Is that how you feel?
Yeah. I mean, I'll be honest. Like, I peddle with different theories in my mind. Like, I go down different rabbit holes. Like, if this is true, then this must be, and then just kind of go through them all. But yeah, I mean, I feel like there is some kind of energy, and the body is just kind of a vessel. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I have that. I literally have 1,000 thoughts on that.
Oh yeah, no, I'm sure.
I've been down a lot of rabbit holes too as well.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I definitely think we were created, right? It doesn't seem. I feel like random doesn't click with me, and But then it's like we get into these thoughts about us, and that's why it's so hard to like know what we are. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you could go. There's so many different thoughts about it. How do you choose? And like some religions have faith and some religions are like old
self-sovereign.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? But it's like, why is it so difficult for us to know like what's really going on? Isn't that interesting that like at the end of the day, you really just kind of have to guess?
Dude, yeah. Sometimes I wonder like, and this is just crazy talk, but sometimes I just sometimes I just go and I'm like, man, what if the point is we're not supposed to have any instructions, and like whoever's experimenting on us, like we're in a little petri dish or something, right? Like this is our universe, right? And like they're kind of like being like, okay, well, what are they going to do with this? Just kind of like let people be, and kind of look and be like, all right, how did these people evolve?
They talk about like multiverses and stuff like that, and then I feel like there could be a lot of different versions of the same universe, and it could be like a science experiment where they change out variables to see what the effects are. Like there was that movie where they changed the ending of World War II, and it turned out like I think it was Germany or Russia ended up running the United States and all that stuff like that. And it would be like, what happened if this? And I feel like that there's a chance. And then like, if you think about the Mandela effect, y'all ever talk about the Mandela's effect? That could be them changing variables on us when like to see if we even know.
Yeah, see if there's a glitch in the matrix.
And then there's another, that's the whole thing. You ever thought about the simulation theory?
No, I have.
I'm bad about making people question their whole life. But so I read, there's a guy named Rizwan Vert, and he was a video game designer.
Yeah.
I first saw him on Rogan. He went on Rogan and talked for like 3 hours about the simulation theory. And so he designs open world video games. And he was like, man, the video games are getting so good. And they finally designed this big one that had like, I think it was some crazy high amount of worlds. And he was like, that's a lot of worlds. What if the simulation what if the game got so good that the people inside the game didn't realize they was in a game?
Right.
And then that's when the simulation theory starts to pick up a little steam. Like, what if this is something? But then I think like, what if, I don't know, like if there was a creator and he created us, that could be the Matrix.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't know. There's 1,000 ways to think about this.
Like, I believe that there's more life besides us, because it's like, what as unexplored as the universe is, like, you just can't believe that Earth is like the only thing with living beings. Like, I feel very strongly that there's more life out there.
Oh yeah, aliens for sure.
Yeah. And go back to the simulation theory, like, I don't know what the purpose of the simulation would be, whether it just be development or whatever. But like, I've always thought about it like this: like, if you go down to the atomic level, like protons and all that stuff, like when you touch something, you're not actually touching it.
Yeah.
And it's like a lot of our body and energy in general is electricity, and things are in code, like zeros and ones. You know what I mean?
Like bits.
Yeah,
that's a big point of the book.
And it's like, and then the part of the theory I think is like, if you think simulations are good now, travel to the future, and then think about like how good they would be, and think about could they not eventually create one that is like this.
That's what I'm saying. We would have got a little wild, boys. No, but it's like, I don't know, man. Because like, I said this one time, this was crazy thought I had. I was like, what if they made a video game so good that the person inside the video game could pick what he does with his life, and then he decides to make video games.
Right.
And then it like turns into an infinite loop.
Yeah.
No, I think I want to go back to my main point. I think it's so interesting though that we are here and we don't know why.
Yeah.
To me, that's wild, because like we do like lots of things in our life. And like anytime you come up with something, you set instructions. Yeah. We don't do things without meaning, right?
Right.
But here we are doing life and we don't really know what it means.
We don't know. Yeah. We have to assign meaning to things. Yeah.
Yeah, we have to. Yeah. We kind of have to like make our own meanings. And I think that could be a lot of what all these different beliefs are. It's like, hey, we had to come up with something, right?
Right.
You know.
And I think it's a universal human experience, though, to long for something else greater than ourselves.
Yeah.
And like that's something common. And I know some religions believe like, it's only this way or that way, but I don't know. I mean, maybe God or the creator, universe, whatever. Maybe it's like a father that like reaches you where you're at, So like maybe people have, you might have Islam, you might have Buddhism, you might have Christianity, whatever. But like at the end of the day, maybe he reaches them where they're at and like in their spiritual journey, and everyone's kind of connected to that source and connected in that way, It's just different things you think about, I can kind of see different various angles. But.
Yeah. It's interesting. I don't know why we're here.
I think our minds is like the most important asset that we all have, and like the different way that we can perceive things. That's what makes us all different people.
Yeah.
So I feel like if instead of like being cliquish with the people who have our same beliefs, like if we were able to just come together and be like, oh, what do you believe in? Oh, that's kind of similar to what I do, or but I do this differently.
Yeah.
Like, that would be so cool to get to just know the different.
Right.
I think we're naturally tribal though because because I personally think that things get passed on through our DNA, right? And so like as even far back to where people had to click up in order to survive, I think we're still functioning off of those same what do they call it? When animals have their instincts. We have instincts.
Yeah.
I think our instincts are tribal.
Yeah.
I think in order to actually have true community, like big community, you have to like break like your actual instincts. What do y'all think about that?
I mean,
because y'all are explaining our community, right? And everybody's doing good and everybody's helping each other, and yet there's still cliques.
Right.
Like,
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Yeah.
It might be something that just is.
Yes, it is, because I'll be thinking like, to me, this makes sense, right?
Yeah.
And I'm thinking logically, like, okay, if this, then that. And if they can see this, then we can get them to do that. And it's not always the case. People have a different way of operating.
Yeah.
You have to learn to speak the language of other people. And that's kind of what like marketing is. It's kind of just really in general, when you're starting a movement or trying to build a culture, you have to speak in a language that other people can easily understand, and everyone's on the same page.
Speaking about like just like the tribal aspect of it, I'm in a program called the Collegiate Academy, and even though I'm a high school student, like I take college classes.
Yeah.
So while I'm at the university that I attend, it's kind of like in my classroom, we have like we're all segregated. Like you have the Black students, the Caucasian students, like just the different races. And it's so weird because even though like we're separated, we may sit on like the opposite sides of the classrooms, like we'll still talk to each other and we're able like to go back and forth about conversations and communicate. But I just like you said, if we weren't...
So that happens naturally though?
Yeah.
When people show up, it's like, everybody kind of...
And even like the first day, some of those people I didn't... Like some of the other Black students here, I didn't know, but I just felt more comfortable or drawn to them.
Yeah. I think that's instinctual.
Yeah.
I think that is like we go like... we always travel the path of least resistance, right?
Right.
And that gets us in trouble too also, because I think if you follow the path of least resistance all the time, you don't get no resistance. You have to get resistance.
Right.
Because that's what makes you stronger. So
exactly.
That's what trips me out about this life. Not only are we in life, we don't know what it means. You also can't just chill the whole time.
No, yeah.
That's crazy. Like you have to go do these things in order to like build yourself up.
Have you ever tried to chill for a really long time, like when COVID hit?
COVID was crazy.
Yeah. I mean, like, it'll drive you crazy.
Yeah, we're not supposed to. I don't think we're supposed to chill. Especially, well, let me take that back. I think there are people that do like chilling.
Yeah.
I think people like us are not meant to chill.
Right.
COVID was a nightmare.
Yeah. It was really cool at first. I was like, man, like this is really relaxing. Like we had to slow down. And then after a while, I was like, I'm about to go insane. Like I need to get out of this.
I bought a bike and I just started going to the park.
Yeah.
I started doing like 20 miles every day. I was like, I can't.
Wow.
Dude, I got crazy with it.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I can't just sit at the house. Like I'm not built for that.
Yeah.
I think COVID like sparked like the most drastic change in social media. I don't know like if it was the most positive or the negative, but like when COVID came, like social media, it was so different because different countries, different people, like we're talking about this never before seen thing in our lifetime, like a whole pandemic. I don't know, like if afterwards was social media ever the same after COVID. I personally don't believe so.
I think social media grew in a different type. We all kind of bonded, and then like there was these shows that were like COVID classics.
Yeah,
like they reshowed The Office during COVID.
Oh yeah,
and like people are like, oh yeah, we watched it. You know what I'm saying? There was like Tiger King. Everybody watched Tiger King during COVID. Like so, it was like that was a weird time where everybody started connecting on it. And it really changed the world. Yeah. DoorDash, Uber Eats, stuff like that. Everybody was like, oh, we don't have to go there. Like getting your groceries, pick up groceries. Like
Shopping malls.
Yeah.
Online shopping. Yeah.
They need to, bro. I know this is off topic, bro. They need to take all the malls and turn them into something cool.
Yep. Entertainment centers.
They need to turn them. Yeah. Or they should let the homeless people.
Oh, heck yeah.
It could be a homeless community. You can turn them to where, like, it would be tough, right?
Yeah.
It would be easy, right? But you could, I don't know, malls need to give up because it is like, our mall, it's
sad.
It is sad. It can't work though. Like this is not the environment for a mall.
No.
Because Amazon, you can go to these stores' websites.
Right.
They want you to shop online.
Right. So why would you go to the mall other than when you could just do it at home, right? So I feel like you have to offer other amenities or other services there that attract people that, even if they don't have to spend a lot of money, have something that gets them there. Once they're there, you can have restaurants, you can have different businesses because they're like, oh, well, since I'm here, let's just go do this. That's fine, right? Yeah. But you have to get them up off the couch first. And that's entertainment. You got to do something like that,
Dude, when I was my age people, we're the reason why they have all those rules at the mall. Like you have to be 18, you have to be with a guardian.
I always heard about those.
Dude, it was like 2009, right? And we would just get dropped off in the morning.
Yeah.
It'd be like 10 a.m. You'd get dropped off on a Saturday and we'd be there till like 7 or 8 in the evening.
God,
dude, it was so many kids in there. We were doing just what
what is there to do?
I was born in 2009.
Dude, no, the Texarkana Mall was filled with teenagers.
You should stay there that long and have something to do.
Oh my God, bro. I had dates at the mall. I'd show up, there'd be some ladies there. I'm like, what's up, ladies? We're gonna have a good day at the mall. We'd get kicked out of stores.
Yeah.
I have 3 lifetime bans from the mall. And could still walk in there, obviously.
Yeah.
But no, I have 3 lifetime bans from the mall. But no, we would just hang out. Like they had a smoothie bar, they had a back room with they played music and stuff like that. It was crazy. We would just walk around stores. We'd get in trouble.
Yeah.
We would do drugs. Unfortunately, I'm sorry for this. But like it was crazy. You could just be at the mall all day. This is not like that no more.
I want it to be like that. We need to get it popular.
Well, they cracked down on us because we were fighting. We were, fool. It was foolery. It was teenage foolery, but it was fun.
It just makes me wonder, like, what is our attention span declining? Is that like what it is? Like, or what caused that great shift? Or is it like just the digital aspect?
I think it's online shopping. Yeah. I literally think that's what took them all out.
But then especially like down here, like I have like a certain taste in clothes and I go down here and like what the stores have, it doesn't specifically cater to me. So it's like I would rather, spend money on this online to get something that I'm going to like than walk around for hours and find nothing.
Right.
I feel like
Some
if we
don't
have
like the act of shopping.
No,
I like to shop, not going to lie.
I don't.
I like to know what I'm getting, put it on a list, go for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You like to shop. You like to be in the store, huh?
I like to do, yes, because like I kind of, not to say that I dislike online shopping, but it's like I want to see something, like feel it, touch it, put it on. And like, okay,
I see that. Yeah, I feel that.
That is the thing though, like to be able to like go in a changing room, put the clothes on, be like, see yourself in it. You're kind of just guessing on the internet.
Right.
But I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't think it'll ever go back.
No, I don't think so.
Unfortunately, but again, like I said, if we turn it into entertainment centers, whoever's got money out there, hear me out. You're hearing it here first on Joe Teel Podcast. All right, we need a patent. I don't know what we need to do. But anyways, we just need to have entertainment centers. I feel like if we can get entertainment in Texarkana, we can add so much more onto that. But we have to have entertainment first. We have to have something to draw people. Yeah,
and not no new restaurants and no more more car washes.
Like
we have so many car washes. The old ones are going out of business.
The same for restaurants.
That too.
And that's what we always hear. That's what we always hear. Texarkana has nothing to do, but it's like we aren't. I mean, you could go out to eat and go to a car wash anytime if you went. Like, but as far as like some really elaborate concepts to do for entertainment, we don't have a lot of that. All we have is like the movies, bowling. Like I can count on probably 2 hands all the entertaining things.
Yeah. You go to Holiday Bowl, movies, and then like a restaurant.
Right.
But like I don't know what else. Yeah. I was hoping that they would turn the old Kmart. I was hoping that they were going to turn that into something cool. But it's just like an AutoZone warehouse.
Yeah, we needed more of those. We did.
But no, they literally tore it. I'll look at my camera. Y'all bear with me because I'm about to talk. Because I get upset about China Inn. Why did they tear down China Inn for another car wash? I'm so upset. I've done this before. It's like the 4th time I've done this in like 100 episodes, but I don't care. Y'all tore down China Inn for a car wash. All right, I'm done.
Hey, I
It
feel
frustrates
that.
me so bad.
That's
that they
very
not looked at it.
justified.
And then there's a back-to-back car washes they touch.
Yeah.
Yeah, on is that State Line?
That state line. Where my favorite place ever. My mom passed away, rest her soul. We used to go there every week.
Yeah.
They tore it down for a car wash.
Yeah.
We don't need no more car washes.
Exactly.
I'm anti-car wash. I'm about to make merch.
Yeah.
Stop making car washes in Texarkana. I'll make a shirt.
Oh yeah, it'll sell out.
I mean, like between car washes and restaurants, it's like I feel like we have enough. So let's go on to the next thing, or like the entertainment is the
We
next
need a
thing.
Dave and
Sure.
Buster's. We need like
something like that.
we need like a
Andretti's.
Andretti's, something.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which we have the fun park, and I don't want to get in trouble for talking about the fun park, but it's like you know the fun park, right?
Is it fun?
That's the issue.
Where's it at?
It's like the go-karts are old.
Oh, that one. Yeah.
It's out there on towards Ashdown.
Yeah. It was. They have a lot of potential.
It was fun when I was a kid, but it's the same thing.
Right.
Nothing has changed since I was like 10 years old.
You got to figure out a way to stay with the times, stay relevant. You know.
We need dangerous go-karts.
Yeah.
And I think that's like where we could get the youth involved, like just knowing what, number one, like knowing what we want, and two, getting us involved to make it. Because I feel like if each generation like to keep this entertainment thing going on, if you do something to cater to the people who need it the most, which is the youth, the future, like that's going to be longevity. But then also like, I mean, it can't be a stopping point. As long as you don't create or make something like to only fit that time and that time only, that's where, I mean, you mess up it because you aren't thinking longevity.
Right.
Do y'all think, because people cry about our youth all the time, like all the activities that go on.
Yeah.
So do y'all think that is from a lack of not having anything else to do? Like, you think there could be better stuff happening for them so they don't have to do that? Or do y'all think this is, I don't know. What do you think?
If you're talking about like people talking about like society or the youth being in
But just like
moral
danger.
decay
You
or
like
whatever.
it's dangerous. Like the kids are fighting and doing or shooting or doing all this stuff. Like if there was more stuff, do you think that would change that?
Yeah, I think a big part of that is it goes back to the education system. And this is not something that I learned in my classes, but it's something that I learned actually as a student, I feel like, and seeing how the education system worked. Because for me, I was very naturally curious about different topics, but school did not really create an environment of learning.
I never learned at school.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't. And it's really just like memorization, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's not really getting like practical application, things that really matter in life. How do you buy a house? Oh, you hear people talk about it all the time. But yeah, that's really how it is. And I think if the education system was more geared towards, like, first of all, Texas High is doing something. They're building a new building. It's called the CTE building.
CTE?
Yeah, like concussion. CTE. Yeah,
CTE,
I know.
ESPN.
I know, but,
Shout out to Antonio Brown.
the people that are taking classes in this building, they don't know anything about sports, so they won't know any different. So they're not just they're just really smart people, bro. But no, I'm telling you, now these CTE building, they have the like different trades and stuff going on.
Good.
So they'll have a mock. I think I don't know if this is top secret, so sorry. They'll have a mock courtroom going on. I think is like one of the things they're gonna do. And I was like, dude, if they could have had that when I was in school, I would have loved that.
Like to get people to want to be like lawyers.
Yeah, and you get to be a real experience. And I think if people get that real experience and see how what they're learning directly correlates to what they need to do, then it can kind of help them have a real buy-in for what they're doing and take their own education into their own hands.
When I think about the struggles of the education system, I have a lot of thoughts about this because, first of all, school didn't speak to me at all, not even remotely close. They wasn't nothing. You know what I'm saying? Really? I would get, like, let's say this podcast gets successful, right? This would be the very thing that used to get me kicked out of class. Just being social, just talking. Yeah. I can't sit here for 8 hours. Let's talk. Let's have a good time. Let's laugh. Let's have a good time.
Exactly.
This might do something for me, and I would have got kicked out of class for doing this very thing. You know what I'm saying? Or things of that nature. So like definitely schools, like, for the academics, it's great. But for the other people, it's like, I think Einstein said or whatever, but if you judge a fish trying to climb a tree, you're going to miss a thing. And I think schools miss that a lot. Is that, there's people.
TJ.
Easy.
I
got easy now.
Gotta put that thing on silent. Didn't give me no cinema warning.
What do you think?
I completely agree. I'm a student currently, and it's just kind of like all the way up until I would say middle school. I enjoyed, like, I loved waking up and like, okay, let's get to school. I'm excited. Let me see my friends. But ever since high school, and it's like I'm learning pointless things for one. And number two, like our school, it doesn't have the ideal. It doesn't have like the ideal school spirit that I would like. It's like those two things combined and not learning anything that I'm going to use in the real life, like learning algebra 2 or how to do geometric or arithmetic sequences, Pythagorean theorem. Like I'll never use that in life.
Right.
So I feel like I think if school was more centered to career, into career education, that would be more, that would be better than just academics. Because like, let's say even me now, if I'm smart, but I don't have like the basic business principles or, I mean, just being like an employee, how's that going to help me in life?
Right.
Yeah. Trigonometry is not calculating to like most people's jobs.
Right. I say as somebody like, so academics was my strong suit. I did really well in that area. And so I say that as somebody that did well in that area, I could see how it benefited me because of the way my mind worked. I didn't have to study hardly at all in high school because I could tell, like, first of all, how the tests were formatted. Like, you can tell by the way they ask questions, like, oh, I could eliminate this one, eliminate this one. Sometimes it's as simple as a grammatical error that they don't cover up, where they say "an" instead of "a." The answer's going to start with the vowel. You just know like little clues like that. And
I never thought about that.
Yeah, me either.
I just pick C.
Yeah. And so sometimes you can just kind of, and I'll find questions here and then come back here and I'll be like, oh, I answered that here. So I got to, just kind of piecing it together and just having a general knowledge, but then kind of just piecing the rest together and be like, all right, here's my answer. Yeah, whatever. And it was just kind of like that. And it worked out well for me, but I also learned that I was just playing the system. Like I didn't really remember anything. Can't tell you half of what I learned in high school. I don't think I learned anything. Anything I learned, I feel like I learned on my own, and I learned a little bit in college. But that's it.
Yeah. Dude, I went on this whole when I turned 27, I was like, I know that's way too late, but I was like, yo, I should probably know some stuff.
Yeah.
So then I started learning a bunch of stuff, and I've learned like these past 3 years, I've been like, dang, I learned all kind of stuff.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, like, even let's say you're gonna be like a mechanic or a construction worker could not be included in this example. But like a mechanic, what does trigonometry or calculus, like what do they need that for? And it's like you do 12 years of education. And personally, me, just in my school system, I feel like after elementary and knowing how to do like the basic math, like 12 by 12 timetable, like that's something that you do need to know. I think reading is something that like you can need to know because even like contracts and on a daily basis, you're going to have to read.
Yeah.
So I completely understand that. And just doing basic math, like let's say, oh, this is my paycheck. Let me see how much of, like, let's say you get a paycheck, you go to the store, like, okay, this is what I keep out on this paycheck. Like that's the basic math principles that we learned in elementary that we need to have. Or I'm signing this contract to buy this house. Let me see what this term means in this term. Like what are the terms of this? I understand that. But in terms of just like science, biology, all of that, like unless I'm going to pursue a career that takes that, like some careers just don't need certain subjects or courses. So what's the point of wasting 12 years of my life to do something that I'll never learn?
Right.
Not that I'll never learn, that I'll never use in life.
Yeah. I think it's just like school is supposed to give you like a base and like then you grow from that and then you kind of angle into your own deal. I do see how like I get knowing a little bit of science because I could see where that's because then you could somebody could just tell you anything about the universe. You'd be like, oh, cool. You kind of have to have that base and doesn't necessarily go with your job.
The education system can be kind of repetitive and doesn't like really build a base that you branch off of.
Yeah.
It's just kind of repetitive. And I can tell you just from my experience with teaching, like I have to get certified 7 through 12 social studies. So the certification exam is kicking my butt right now. I got to study for it. All right. But they're asking all kinds of random questions. It's like, why would I remember this? I could just Google this, Like, tell me how it connects to society and how it is today. Give me some kind of application. But 7 through 12, they just want you to memorize stuff. And so I feel like kind of what Ayden was saying was like, once you get to a certain point, you've had your basic understanding. Like, let's start specializing. Let's get good at some kind of skill, something we can apply in real life. But right now, it just funnels people to college. And I feel like there's a college bubble now. Where it's too many people going to college, degrees mean a lot less, and it's about to burst, and people are going to start going to trade schools.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I think trade school is a good play right now.
Yeah, it is,
especially if you're that type of person, because there's different type of people for different type of stuff.
Right.
As far as history and just learning stuff for sure, it's like it's important to know what happened to us. We all can agree on that, but at the same time, like the game changes. I have remember when math teachers used to, well, you probably don't remember this, but math teachers used to tell me, you're not going to walk around with a calculator in your pocket.
Oh, yeah. They say that all the time.
I've seen that meme before.
Yeah.
I do walk around with a calculator in my pocket. I never leave the house without it.
Yeah.
So am I worse at math because I have a calculator? I'm not sure. but it'll be that same type of concept as far as history. It's like when I want to know something history-wise, I just chat GPT. Like, 'cause I pay for chat GPT.
I do too.
I pretty much can know whatever I need to know at almost at any time. So like, I don't know what that's doing to me.
No.
But
see, the thing that schools don't adapt to right now is the fact that like assignments do not adapt. Oh my good gosh, my phone is blowing up. Assignments that are today, they don't adapt well, I feel like, to actual learning. Like they're kind of made to make you just memorize. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I talked to Craig Nakashian. He's so cool. That's the main history professor at A&M. Yeah, that's my boy. He's so cool. And he specializes in the Dark Ages and blah, 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 and all that stuff. But he's so cool. And he was telling me about history, and he was like, he had one history teacher that like changed his life by making him like, it was like they stopped memorizing stuff, and it was all about like, you go read a document from way back, and now you tell me what you think about that.
Yeah.
How does that apply to now?
Exactly.
And like that type of learning. And I think that's what a lot of
you have to foster the deeper critical thinking.
Yeah.
Get them to think on their own. Not tell them what to think, but tell them how to use the tools to think for themselves.
Yeah.
One thing that like I really hate is how AI and just like ChatGPT, all of that is such frowned upon like at school, because it's kind of like when I grew up and I'm at a job, let's say if I don't know how to send this email or word it, like if I ChatGPT it, like what's the worst that's going to happen to me? Like I feel like we need to embrace change. I know that they say AI like wastes water or whatever. I'm not sure how true that is.
Yeah.
Have y'all heard that
water
before?
to keep it cool? But like the whatchamacallits?
Yeah, I didn't know that.
The storage.
Yeah.
Because it's like a big the mainframes of it or whatever.
Right.
But you know, I use ChatGPT like 30 times a day. Easy.
Oh yeah. Me too.
Personally, I use Copilot. That's just because I mean, even on my school computer, they have ChatGPT blocked. So like Copilot is one of the apps that are unblocked, but it's just, it helps me learn things. Like let's say if in math, I use it a lot in math. If I don't know how to do something the way that my teacher or professor explains it, I could say, hey, what's another way to memorize this formula or learn how to do this? And like, I understand it that way. I don't like how frowned upon it is.
Well, I mean, if you don't learn AI now, you're going to be behind.
Exactly. That, and also I think ChatGPT and AI is changing the game in education too, because like if you're giving assignments that people can just say, write this essay for me about this topic, then that's a very basic level like assignment. It doesn't take much mental processing. So people are just going to throw it on to ChatGPT and they're like, they're not learning anything, but we're passing them. Like, what are we doing? You know? And so I feel like ChatGPT is going to force them to turn education towards more hands-on learning, stuff that you can't just, fabricate on a piece of paper. You know? So.
I agree. Before we get too lost in it, I'm going to have both of you back.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
This has been a great time.
Yeah.
Any plugs? Anything you want to plug? Obviously, NVST TXK.
Oh yeah, for shout out, NVST TXK. It's the nonprofit, spelled NVST TXK. It's pronounced NVST TXK. You can follow us on Facebook and Instagram. That's really it. We're part of Kiwanis, so shout out to the Kiwanis Club. And then Ayden, you might shout out, my scholars.
Yes, sir. Shout out to the scholars. Yeah. Shout out to Invis. Shout out to TJ Wall.
Yeah. Shout out Ayden. Yeah. And shout out Joe Teel for putting us on. Yeah.
For my people, I got to look way over here at this camera. My bad. Like, share, subscribe, do all that cool stuff, man. Helps me get more videos. Got my Patreon coming. Make sure you go look on there. It'll be super cheap, but a lot of stuff. I have extra stuff here and there. If you're listening on Spotify, the last thing, if you're listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, rate the show, please, and give me a 5-star rating. If you're not going to give me a 5-star rating, don't rate me. I'm just playing. But no, for real, don't do that. But if you give me a 5-star rating, that'll help me because that'll push me out to more people. Follow me on Joe Teel Podcast. That's on all my handles. Y'all have a great day. So glad y'all came on the show, man.
Yes,
y'all be blessed. Y'all have a great day, and we're gonna make it happen again.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Peace.
Peace.